Long before the rise of Kievan Rus, before Chronicles took shape and rulers carved their names into history, a complex world was already forming in the lands north of the Middle Dnieper. This was a world of rivers and forests, of merchants and warriors, of cultural encounters stretching from the Baltic Sea to the Islamic world. In this video, we explore the earliest traces of political organization and long-distance trade connecting Scandinavia, the Khazar Steppe, and the Abbasid Caliphate, revealing how power, identity, and commerce began to intertwine in what would later become the Rus world. Well before the turn of the 9th century, some form of political hierarchy already existed in regions north of the Middle Dnieper. Yet, reconstructing even its most basic features remains a challenge. The evidence is scarce, fragmented, and often ambiguous. Still, one detail stands out with clarity. Around the year 838, there existed a ruler of a people known to the Byzantines as the Rus. Whether this was their own name or a close approximation remains uncertain, but their presence was undeniable. At some point, a group of these Rus accompanied a Byzantine embassy to the court of Louis the Pious. There, they made a request to be helped in returning to their homeland. The Frankish annals, which record this episode, are careful in tone. But they reveal something crucial. The Rus were organized enough to be led by a king, organized enough to send diplomatic missions across vast distances, and wealthy enough to sustain such journeys. But who exactly were these people? The annals offer clues, yet also deepen the mystery. The Rus claimed their ruler bore the title Chaganus, a term associated with steppe powers like the Khazars. However, after further investigation, Louis concluded that they belonged to the people of the Swedes. This contradiction raised suspicions. Could they be spies? Louis chose caution. The Rus were detained for further questioning. So here we have a paradox. A ruler with a Khazar-style title, leading a people identified as Scandinavian. Historians have long debated this passage. There is no definitive way to determine which interpretation is correct. Much depends on how we reconstruct the broader context, especially the conditions between the Gulf of Finland and the steppes of the Don and Volga rivers. Yet one possible scenario aligns with later accounts: a Scandinavian-led political entity in the north, and a powerful Khazar state extending its influence as far as the Dnieper. This is, notably, the picture suggested by the primary chronicle. Some objections remain. Why would a Scandinavian ruler adopt a Khazar title? But history offers parallels. In the British Isles, Scandinavian war leaders often adopted local customs, and even Christian royal symbols, to strengthen their authority. And in the Rus context, there are hints of steppe influence. Elite symbols, such as metal-adorned belts and decorated reins, suggest contact with Khazar and Turkic traditions. Power, after all, is often built through adaptation. The Khazars themselves played a crucial role in this emerging world. As a semi-nomadic power, they demonstrated remarkable organizational ability, extracting resources from neighboring populations while maintaining stability across vast steppe regions. This stability, sometimes described as a pax khazarica, helped attract merchants traveling along the Silk routes. From the Far East, from the Caucasus, from the heart of the Abbasid Caliphate. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share this video. By the mid-8th century, another factor transformed these networks: the large-scale minting of silver dirhams by the Abbasids. At the same time, Arab attempts to convert the Khazars and other steppe peoples to Islam began to decline. The result? Existing trade networks intensified. Silver flowed northward, through rivers, across forests, and into regions far beyond the Islamic world. Geography played a decisive role. Populations tended to settle along rivers and around lakes, natural corridors of movement and exchange. These locations became stopping points for merchants and sometimes permanent trading centers. Large lakes like Ilmen and Ladoga served a dual purpose. They supported local economies, hunting, fishing, agriculture, while also functioning as hubs of communication, drawing in diverse groups and fostering craftsmanship and trade. Trade between northern fur-producing regions, steppe populations, and distant markets, Sasanian, Persian, Byzantine, was already active in the 6th and early 7th centuries. And importantly, these connections were likely not disrupted by the early Arab conquests. Instead, they continued, and even expanded. This helps explain how quickly Abbasid silver coins reached the Gulf of Finland. One key site reveals this process in action: Staraya Ladoga. Here, Abbasid coins appear in the earliest archaeological layers, alongside blacksmithing tools similar to those found in Scandinavia. Local workshops produced knives using Scandinavian techniques, as well as ship nails and rivets. And by the early 9th century, perhaps even earlier, glass bead production was already underway. This was not an isolated outpost. It was part of a connected world. One of the earliest hoards of dirhams found in Russia dates to the early 9th century, near the Gulf of Finland. These coins tell a remarkable story. Some bear Scandinavian-style runes. Others display Arabic inscriptions. One even carries the name, Zacharias, in Greek, and still others show Turkic runes, likely acquired during their passage through Khazar territories. Together, they reveal a diverse network of traders, cultures, and interactions, all tied to the fur trade. Meanwhile, in central Sweden, dirhams also appear in burial contexts by the late 8th century. The region facing the Åland Islands was known as Rodhen, or Rhodes. The Baltic Finns referred to its inhabitants as Rotsi, a term that likely came to be used for all Scandinavians they encountered. From this designation, the name Russ may have emerged in Slavic usage. These groups likely operated in small, independent trading bands, but the growing network of trading posts east of the Baltic facilitated movement, exchange, and perhaps the need for broader forms of authority. In such a setting, a local leader adopting the title of a Khazar ruler, whose domains were crossed by the very silver fueling this trade, makes sense. It reflects not contradiction, but adaptation, not confusion, but convergence. And so, the account of a Scandinavian people, led by a Khan, aligns, in its own way, with later traditions describing agreements between native populations and incoming Varangians. What emerges from this early period is not a single origin story, but a web of interactions. Scandinavians, steppe nomads, and Islamic merchants. Rivers linking distant worlds, silver coins carrying the marks of many cultures. Together, they formed the foundations of a new political and economic landscape. A landscape in which identity was fluid, power was negotiated, and the seeds of the Rus world were quietly taking root. If you enjoyed this deep dive into early medieval history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. There's much more to uncover in the crossroads of civilizations.